Watching what red states are doing as far as education and how they are handling rights as far as reproductive rights has been very interesting. Keep in mind that the former Confederate states are the worst and have been the worst ever since the Great Migration and the Civil War. They fared the worst in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and poverty. They have fared the worst. You can look it up. They rank at the bottom because they haven't been able to get it right ever since Black people actually got some rights and decided to leave. So, since they didn't have that free labor, their states have been faring worse. So, now they're still grappling with that. Their education is still on the bottom, but how do they plan on fixing it? Let's try to just make it more conservative. Anyways, this article, Mississippi Auditor says several college majors indoctrinate students and should be defunded. Makes just as much sense as what's going on in Florida with DeSantis and in Texas with Greg Abbott. But let's just see if this will be different. The answer is no, it's not going to be any different. Calling numerous social science and humanities degree programs indoctrination factories, Mississippi Auditor says the state should defund several college majors and invest in subjects that match the state's workforce needs. In a report published Tuesday, Mississippi State Auditor Shad White, a Republican, argued that the state should change its approach to funding its public universities. He proposed tying public investment to workforce needs instead of providing funds without regard for the degree program, as traditionally has been the case. Too many college graduates are leaving Mississippi, and aligning degree programs with labor market demand might stem the tide, White said. In numerous statements on social media leading up to the report's publication, White said there should be no taxpayer funding for useless degrees in garbage fields like urban studies, anthropology, sociology, German literature, African American studies, gender studies, and women's studies, claiming some academic programs are hotbeds for political radicalization. While White's statements and his report arrive as education from K through 12 to university levels remain at the center of America's culture wars. Keep in mind, did you guys just read all of that? It is in alignment with how Republicans are attacking DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. How they are attacking women's reproductive rights. How the Republicans are attacking anything that has to do with gay folks. It is all in alignment. So, what is that going to do? It's going to continue to push people that are not white Christian out of their states. But maybe it'll work this time. Maybe. Who knows? Let's think about Florida. A Florida law enacted in May bars curricula that teaches identity politics or theories about race, gender, and sexuality disfavored by conservatives. A legislation passed by Republican-controlled legislatures curtails diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at public universities. Who in their right mind, unless you are who who wants to go to these places if they're not going to have any kind of diversity? Who wants to go? White leaned into the ideological fights, roiling higher education in his social media commentary. But the report released by his office focuses on elevating some majors over others as a solution to Mississippi's brain drain, a phenomenon that sees significant numbers of college graduates earning their degrees in mostly rural state and then departing for bigger paychecks and expanded cultural opportunities. Now, just thinking about what that is right there, Mississippi, it ranks very low on poverty, education, and infrastructure, like I've already said, and health outcomes. Why would anybody that has some kind of brains and capacity to earn money want to stay in this state? So instead of creating something that makes people want to stay in Mississippi, they attack DEI, gay folks, they attack any kind of studies that's not white dominated. So let's just keep on attacking it though. One way to stop the outmigration is to have a state increase funding in degree programs with higher earning potential right after graduating, such as in engineering or business management, according to White's report. So Mississippi knows that it is hemorrhaging smart folks. So this article was written back in 2018. It was called Plan Tries to Slow Brain Drain from Mississippi. Obviously, they haven't drained enough because they want to continue to drain more. Mississippi has a bright lights, big city problem with significant numbers of college graduates earning degrees in this mostly rural state, then departing for bigger paychecks and expanded cultural opportunities in Atlanta, Dallas, Nashville, and beyond. And what is also true of those states, I mean, those cities, is probably the diversity. But instead of, talking about that, let's just squash diversity talk. I want to bring attention to what I underlined in yellow. Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the nation. Why would anybody want to stay? So, like I said, instead of fixing that problem, they just want to create a lack of diversity. Makes no sense, but whatever. That's these people thinking. Anyways, back to the original article I was talking about. Some high-paying degree programs were not likely to produce graduates who work in Mississippi, and this represents a missed opportunity for state's taxpayers. Producing more of these graduates and then retaining even a small number of them would inject millions of additional dollars into Mississippi's economy. At the same time, the state should cut taxpayer funding for programs in the social sciences, humanities, and arts that aren't advantageous to the state's economy. He pointed to a 2023 Texas law that bases funding for community colleges on measurable outcomes like the number of degrees awarded in high demand fields. And like I said early on, all of these red states, they are in alignment with how they are moving. You could tell that they sat down and they're like, they created a program in how they want to squash diversity. They want to they want to they seemingly want to jack up education. It is all programming. These people are saying the same things, just different people saying. The share of Mississippi's population ages 25 and above who held at least a bachelor's degree in 2020 was 22.8%, which ranked 49th among all states, ahead of only West Virginia. In one online comment, White pointed to the financial trouble and budget cuts at West Virginia's public university as a sign Mississippi should defund some programs. Defunding programs in a state that is already failing and flailing as far as education doesn't quite make sense to me, but I am an educated Black woman, and obviously I wouldn't be welcomed in that state because I would want to see some people like me. So I don't have any kind of ideas for these people. Just let them continue to fail and flail because that is what they want to see. And I believe that they should have to live in the consequences of their decision making. So you guys go ahead, jump in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share.